Hi again, everyone. I'm Ollie Matthews. This is Refuge from Narcissism, and this refugee video is sponsored by contribution from Julia. And Julia sent this in to me. All it said on the email was borderlines making excuses. I listened to the first 40 seconds, and I'm like, all right, I'm in. I'm in. Because I already got this woman's neurolinguistics down. She's a pathological liar. From what I've seen in 40 seconds. If I end up being wrong, I'll say I'm wrong at the end. Okay? But I know where this is. I can see where this is going. So here we go. Let's get right into it.
Borderline is chosen behavior, and they all lie and manipulate. Obviously, that is stigma, which I...
Which way do your eyes go? What have I told you? To your left, to their right, is the creative part of their brain, the lying part. To your right, to their left, is stored memory. Let's watch the first statement again.
Obviously, that is stigma, which I wanted to explain.
She knows, so right off the bat, she knows it's a lie. She knows everything that she's about to say in the next 11 minutes is a complete fabrication. She knows it.
This is something we deal with, we borderlines.
We borderlines. So she's one of them.
On a daily basis. The idea that the behavior that we have, whether it's aggression or it's manipulating or it's pushing people away or it's depression, whatever, this is all chosen behavior, and we could stop it if we would only want it bad enough.
Yes. Yes. And that's it, if you wanted it bad enough, but you don't want it at all. So we're just supposed to have to deal with all your histrionics, your outbursts, your manipulations, your lying. So she said all of the characteristics of a borderline we've been talking about here for fucking 8 years. She knows them all. But it's not her fault. It's not her fault that she has to lie and manipulate. Let's just go back again so we get the whole thing again.
Borderlines on a daily basis. The idea that the behavior that we have, whether it's aggression or it's manipulating or it's pushing people away or it's depression, whatever, this is all chosen behavior, and we could stop it if we would only want it bad enough.
Scratch of the year. I understand, like, this woman is a disaster. You're a disaster. You're a disaster if you end up watching this. I don't know your name. This is the first I've seen of you. Like, you're a disaster. Okay? You obviously know your behaviors. You obviously know you can control them, and you don't care. If I was asking you questions, okay, in my old life across an interrogation table, I know I have you already. I know it. And watch her body language as she's explaining it. She kind of gives it a shrug, like she's shrugging it. Watch.
On a daily basis. The idea that the behavior that we have, whether it's aggression or it's manipulating or it's pushing people away, or it's depression, whatever.
See it? After she goes down the litany of what she does, pushing people away, manipulating, whatever the other, brush it off. Brush it off. This is why I say victims, I say monsters, not victims. They are well aware of their fucking behaviors. They don't care. They don't care. And now we're at a point now where they're the victims because they have borderline. Because they abuse you, they are now the victims. Let's see. Let's go. I'm in.
This is all chosen behavior.
The scratching on the neck, this is all soothing mechanisms when somebody is lying to you. Talk to me, I'll get the truth out of you. Believe me, I'd get the truth out of you.
And we could stop it if we would only want it bad enough.
Scratch the ear.
Well, I wish that was true.
Which way is she looking? I wish that was true. Lies. Lie. You're lying. You're lying. You're lying to these people. You're lying. I knew this, and look, like I said before, I knew this was going to happen when I started with eventually the borderline, the narcissist, the sociopath was going to pick up on the vernacular and turn it into their advantage. It's just the way it was going.
And the thing that we all, everyone in the world with BPD has the same symptoms. Well, it couldn't be farther from the truth, because in the years that...
You see, as she's having trouble, we've been finding, which way is she looking? These are all lies. These are all manipulations. She wants to take zero responsibility. Are there some borderlines in the world that maybe don't do every one of these behaviors? I'm sure there are. I'm sure there are. The majority of them, the overwhelming majority of them, act just the way she says.
That I'm doing this job and having BPD myself, I have seen probably every symptom and way of dealing with depression, anxiety, fear, anger that you can imagine. So we certainly don't have all the same symptoms. People can be very, very different. I do get that people get this image of someone with BPD because of the media and because of movies, and I get it. But this is
what are you talking about? Because of the media? The media is borderline as fuck. The media is narcissistic as fuck. The movies are narcissistic. They're all full of borderlines. Look at Amber Heard. You got no better example of a borderline female than Amber Heard. Blame everybody but yourself for your shitty behavior. That's weird coming from somebody who's running a channel for victims of okay, we've been victimized by you. The reason why I have 31,000 subscribers, okay, is because of people like you. Do you understand? Because of people like you. And then you will sit here and make videos telling me how all borderlines are different. Like, I don't give a shit. To my opinion, if you're saying you're a borderline and you don't do the things that you just rattled off, then you're not a borderline. If you do these things, you are 100% a borderline. But you know that. She knows this.
Why I try to explain things so everyone can understand what it's really about. What I've found over the years of doing this job is that there is some common ground, I think. One of them, common ground, that I see in almost everyone who has BPD is that we don't feel the right to exist, which says nothing.
So it's about your hurt. Again, it's about your hurt. Do you have any fucking concept or a care in the world about the fucking damage you do? No. No. Listen, we know you got problems, but that's the whole fucking point. That's why it's called a choice. I don't discount and I don't disbelieve that you've been abused by someone. I do not. That's how you got this way in the first place. There's plenty of people that think they don't have any value or self-worth. There's 31,000 of them on my channel that I'm fighting to find it. Dummy. Because of people like you. But there comes a time when you're grown up, when you're in your teens or in your 20s or in your 30s, where you fucking realize this is wrong. You knew how it made you feel as a child, but yet you go out and you use the word, you said the word, manipulate. Manipulate, i.e. calculated. Calculation. You plan your attacks for maximum effect and maximum benefit for yourself. Yeah, we get it. You were abused. We get it. You don't like yourself. We get it. But you, with all that, everybody you abuse doesn't like themselves. That's why you're able to get away with the fucking bullshit you get away from. The difference is we know better. We know right from wrong. We know those behaviors destroy other people, and you actively don't want to make other people feel that way. You're all about you. And helping other monsters.
Self-confidence, it's a level deeper than that. It's about the right to be on the world, to take part in things, to choose things, to literally take up space. This feeling...
And you counteract that and you make up for that by trying to take over every fucking space you're in. So don't buy that either. Because the borderline sucks the energy, the life, everything she can get out of every room they are in. And when then they don't get their way, that's when you get the histrionic outbursts, the crying, the yelling, the screaming, the door slamming, the ruining of holidays, birthdays, any event that means anything to you that you will not allow them to make about themselves. That's what you're going to get. You think nobody knows you don't like her? You think I don't know you don't like her? Obviously. Obviously. But you are still making the decision. Planning these attacks out and manipulations out in your head for maximum effect.
Develops for many different reasons. It's something that you just don't develop to a level that people without the disorder do. And the reason behind it...
The reason you're able to develop to the level you are is because people let you get away with it. Because your tactics work. for years and years and decades, because nobody wants to deal with the fallout, and they're gonna deal with it anyway. That's the toughest pill to swallow for people that come to me, is they're gonna have to deal with your bullshit, for as long as they choose to be in the same friggin' environment as you. That's why I tell everybody, I'm like, cut them out forever and for good. You can't fix them. You can't help them. They don't want to be fixed, and they don't want to be helped. Even when they admit they have the disorder, it's for gain. It's to be pitied now. No, it isn't. No, it isn't.
Is also variable. Abuse in every form, not feeling safe as a child, not feeling accepted for who you are.
Join the motherfucking club. Join the club. See, this is their folly. Okay? This is their folly. They think they are the only ones. They think that now they have carte blanche. They really don't. They really don't give a shit about anyone else. They don't realize the people they are able to abuse, they're only able to do it because they've been abused themselves. Normal people won't even interact. They won't even deal with it. It won't even be on a radar, and she'll know not to even go near them.
Emotional neglect. It all has to do with being accepted and allowed to be who you are as a child, which means, of course, you cannot choose everything and just walk away when you're 5. So you're dependent on the people around you.
Exactly. You can't choose anything. Choose anything when you're 5. You sure as hell can when you're 18. You sure as hell can when you're 21. You sure as hell can when you're 30, 40, 50, however old you are. That's our point.
Which means you start developing techniques to survive. And these techniques, they vary. Some people, it totally depends on your situation as a child as well, because some people survive well on having a big mouth, aggression, pushing people away, and this is what keeps them safe, if at all possible, as a child. Then there's people that try to disappear because this is what keeps them mostly safe as a child. So from here on out, you just develop techniques to survive in the world. Now, that is the point where it's no longer chosen behavior. It's not because you feel like being aggressive. It's because you got taught as a very young child that this is the way you can stay alive and you can survive.
When you're terrorizing Christmas or a birthday with your histrionic crying and door slamming, you're trying to survive? So getting your way and having all attention on you is somehow surviving in your mind? See, when you treat people like that, you're going to have some sort of emotion towards it. You either like it, you either like hurting people, or you don't like hurting people. Do you take any accountability for for your actions, or no? Because I learned this as a child. that makes it okay now to abuse people as an adult. As if you don't know the difference between fucking right and wrong. Really? 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 It's so absurd. It's so childlike. It's so what you would expect a 14-year-old, how you would expect a 14-year-old to argue with you or debate a subject with you. No regard for what their behavior does to other people and not a care about it. Because again, this is just another tactic to make everything about yourself.
Nobody just likes to be aggressive or likes to be manipulative.
No.
Or likes to be alone all the time.
Lies.
But if that is the way to keep yourself safe, this for me was very true. As long as I kept people on
She's lying about all
distance
this.
And I kept to myself, I was the safest. So this is what I do still, or I feel I have to do to stay safe. Whenever I feel I'm, the relationship is not going the way I want to, whether it's a friendship or it's just very superficial contact. If I feel like I'm no longer safe or I don't trust what the other one is doing, I will push you away, because this is what I did from when I was very young. The same.
By push you away, how? If you're in a relationship, say I don't want to carry on the relationship anymore, that's it. What do you do by push away? Freak out, manipulate, histrionic meltdowns. What are we talking about here? She keeps it all vague.
Same goes for manipulation. I do manipulate. Yeah, I do.
I do, man. That's not my fault. You're a grown-ass woman, and I guess you're some sort of therapist, and you're manipulating people. Like, what? What? But it's not your fault because you didn't know right from wrong as a child. Like, really? Really? They're victims. They want you to believe they're victims. And I keep telling you, they're monsters. This is why. Because if you don't know, you could fall for this shit. You could fall for this shit.
And for me, again, this is not for everyone with BPD. I am talking about me now. And this is one of my symptoms and one of the things that I developed to survive when I was a kid. For one, it's nurture. It's what I saw in my family. This is what you do to get what you want. You don't ask for it or talk about it, or you just manipulate, and then you reach your goal.
Thank you for admitting all that. No shit. No shit. That's our point. That's why we don't want to be around you. And you know what? We don't have the time, and we don't have the emotional storage, okay? Nor should we have to sit there and decipher what type of fucking borderline you might be. Are you going to take my whole head off, or are you just going to take a pinky? Like, we don't have time. Stop being a shitty person. When you're sitting there thinking about calculating how to manipulate a situation, why don't you say, hey, maybe I shouldn't. Maybe I should just move on. Nope. I'm a victim because I didn't learn from childhood. Instead of coming to maturity, when you matured and saying, you know what, this isn't the way you should act in society. This isn't how good people act. No. You use your maturity or whatever learned intelligence you have at that point to then figure out how to rationalize why the fucking behavior should be accepted and it's okay. It's not. Because we're all not the same. Well, I'll tell you what, from what you told me about yourself, I don't want you within 2,000 miles of me. And because of borderlines like you is why, even if what you're saying is true, which I don't think it is, in my opinion, it's not. But let's just say it is. Who has the time or the emotional capital to risk on finding out what type of fucking borderline this person is? No, sorry. Thanks. Have a nice life. Good luck with your next victim.
Besides that, I don't feel the right to exist and just be or be accepted. So,
that's because you're lying about everything. That's because you're dishonest about this. This is because you know you damage people in your core, but you don't want to stop it. You don't want to stop.
For instance, I come over to your place for a coffee. I will probably never in my life ask you to turn up the heat or close the window if I'm cold, because I don't feel enough right to ask people something that is for me, in essence. So
yeah, welcome to the club. Welcome to the club. I don't sit there. They think they're special because they feel exactly the way they've made all of us feel, and now we're supposed to pity them because they didn't really want to make us feel that way because they already feel that way, so feel bad for them.
This means I will probably send you signals that I'm cold, hoping that you will close that window or turn up the heat, whichever.
Or did you ever consider that they didn't really want you there in the first place? And that's their way of making you feel unwelcome? Did you ever think that these people have already come to a point where I'm sick of your shit? I'm sick of your shit, but I don't want to have the full-on meltdown that would come with actually confronting you. So I'm just going to make it as uncomfortable. I'm going to turn up the heat. I'm going to open a window. I'm going to make it cold. I'm going to make it as least hospitable as possible. So maybe you take the fucking hint and leave. That ever occur to you? Did it ever occur to you that you made these people's lives so miserable and so awful that they're trying to drive you out? Rightfully so.
Yes, that is manipulating, and yes, I've learned to deal with it. I've learned to see it, to see what I do, why I do it, and to try to change it. But that doesn't mean I can change it in a whole and that it's chosen behavior.
You can't stop manipulating people? You can't stop like, think about that, what it takes. It takes pre-planning and calculation, and you can't stop that, or you don't want to stop that. Again, did it ever occur to you that that person didn't want you there in the first place? But your borderline ass decide, no, I want to go there and I'm going to be there, and if I don't get my way, I'm going to manipulate, I'm going to make weird comments, and Guess what? People are usually pretty good on picking up on clues of whether they're hot or cold. They didn't want you there in the first place. Take a hint. Take a hint.
Behavior that I'm really conscious of and choosing in that moment. It's just a survival skill. It's something that I have done from when I was a kid. So, point being, no, it's not chosen behavior.
Yeah, it is. You just proved it is. You just proved it is. That is the weakest excuse. Delusional. Delusional. And I feel bad for anybody who crosses your path in real life, because this is what you're going to do to them. And now you're going to come with how you're a victim. It's not your fault. It is your fault because you know it's wrong. You're sitting here making this video knowing it's wrong. Even though you haven't said once, I know my behavior is wrong. I just can't stop manipulating people. I just can't stop. If you can't stop manipulating people, then maybe you should be in a facility, okay, where you're monitored so you don't. Do you take any accountability for the damage that your behavior causes on how many different fucking people? No, you don't.
An actual illness that you developed as a child, as much as any physical illness that people have. And yes, you can influence it, but that only goes so far. You can influence it for
just our luck,
part of it, and you can try to change part of it, as well as you can take care of yourself if you have a physical illness. And if your kidneys aren't working, then you won't eat like buckets of salt. Yes, you can take care of yourself and try to minimize the symptoms, if you will. But no, it's not chosen. And no, we don't all have the same symptoms. So yes, it's very complex, and the only way you can learn about someone who has BPD is by asking them a lot of questions.
Oh, talk to them. Give them more attention. Oh, I see what they're after. The whole reason why they're so calculating and manipulative in the first place, to get attention, in order not make them be manipulative, you have to give them attention and make it all about them. Okay, great. That makes fucking perfect sense. Right. You're not a narcissistic sociopathic borderline at all. And you sit there saying this with a straight face, okay? And I'm telling you, like, you might be able to fool some people like with this, okay? I'm a trained investigator, like, I know, and I can, because I did look down at the comments. It didn't seem like you were convincing too many people in the comments either. We'll look at some of them.
Speaking to them, talking, and trying to understand why someone has developed the survival skills that they have.
So you got to go over the toxic waste to find out why the waste is toxic. I don't give a shit. At some point, what you have to understand, you damage people to the point where they don't give a shit what your problem is. They don't care. Doesn't matter. The damage is too severe. Doesn't matter if it's chosen or not. People don't care about it being intentional, but about it happening at all for any reason. It happens. People don't judge your intentions, but your external behavior will never be different. You have to change or be marked somehow to protect people from you. I'm from a culture, Jamaican, where we don't take the approach that Americans usually do to these people, pity and able. I find that because we hold them accountable, a lot of them will mostly behave, in quotes. They know for the most part that know for the most part their abuse will not be tolerated and they will be met with consequences. And that's just it. The borderline doesn't want to be met with consequences. That's what the histrionic freakouts are always about. Yeah, BPD suffer, that's totally clear, but you can't put your own suffering above the suffering which you have caused or actively causing in others. Thank you. Then BPDs say, oh, I'm sorry I hurt you. I'm so bad. I want to get better. When does it get better for those around you? At some point, you got to realize you're recreating what made you suffer in the first place and try something else for a change, especially treating others the way you would never want to be treated and never tolerate being treated. It's very, very selfish, and it doesn't even satisfy your needs. It's all just a distraction. BPDs need to be taught self-reparenting. All of this is learned behavior. You got to learn something else and then actually choose it even though you're scared. Relationships are not one-sided. It's relating to one another. You can ask a BPD questions all day long. Some will just not authentically because it's safer for them. Okay. Exactly. It's a choice. It's always going to be a choice, and there are always going to be monsters, and you don't have time to figure even if what she's saying is accurate. You don't have time, okay, or the emotional capital to spare at this point to try to deprogram or defuse a toxic borderline narcissist. You just don't. If you got a barrel of toxic waste sitting there, you don't go over and stand over like, why are you toxic? No, you stay the fuck away from it. Otherwise, it poisons you and destroys your life. So, that's what I got to say about that. Thank you, Julia, for the contribution and sending me this video. I really appreciate it. Thank you to everybody watching. Please leave any opinions in the comment section below. And again, if you want your story read on the channel, you have a topic you'd like me to cover, something you'd like me to expose, you'd like to set up a Skype phone call, have a private video made, you'd like to sponsor a video like this for someone who needs help and can't afford it, or just make a contribution to the channel in general to keep it supported, growing, and successful, because this channel survives 100% on contributions from all of you. Without you guys, all of this goes away. So if you like what you see here and you want to see more videos like this, you know what to do with the PayPal and email links in the description box. Also, please like and share this video wherever you can. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't, and be sure to click the subscription bell to be notified of all my video uploads. I'm Ollie Matthews. This has been Refuge from Narcissism. Take care.